Something unusual is happening in the South African car market at the minute. When you used to drive down the road and see one dealership with one badge on the front, now that same dealership has 2, 3, 4 badges. Different logos, different names, obviously foreign, coming from where? New designs, new vehicles. Some of them are really nice, aren't they? But what does it really mean for us in South Africa today? Is South Africa entering a new age, a new automotive bonanza? Or are we quietly losing the industry that helped build our economy over the last 3 decades?
As a country, we have been de-industrializing. And as an auto sector, we're starting to see early signs of de-industrializing.
Over the past year in Cars.co.za podcast for business, I've had the privilege of sitting down with some of the most important people shaping South Africa's automotive industry. And one theme keeps coming up again and again in those conversations: change, that the industry is changing and quickly.
So let me paint the picture. From a country point of view, we used to have 19% of our contribution as a manufacturing sector to the GDP of the country. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, that's now dropped to 13%. That would be okay if we'd been able to establish a deep level of manufacturing capabilities with a deep level of supply chains, but we didn't. And we've actually lost a lot of our manufacturing value addition over the last 25 years. So it's a big change from 19% to 13%.
In this series, we take a closer look at the insights from the leaders helping shape that future and the forces shaping South Africa's automotive industry. We're going to take a deeper dive into what is going on and its implications for you and for me and our daily lives. South Africa's automotive sector is one of the most significant industrial ecosystems on our continent. It contributes more than 5% of our country's GDP. It supports hundreds of thousands of jobs. But the real engine is not the companies themselves, the brands that makes the cars. It's the network of companies that sit behind that. Every locally built vehicle supports an entire supply chain: engineering firms, parts manufacturers, logistics providers, and the export networks that connect South Africa to the rest of the world. In fact, nearly 70% of the vehicles produced in South Africa are actually exported internationally. That means the country isn't just building cars, it's competing on the global automotive stage. But that stage is changing rapidly. One of the biggest changes in recent years has been the rapid arrival of Chinese automotive brands. Some of them have moved from near anonymity to top 10 sales positions in the past few years. But this expansion isn't random. It's part of a much bigger global shift.
Last year, about 93.5 million cars were produced. China produced 30 million of that 93. So that's a massive sausage machine. And the number I've heard this year, they've got capacity for 45.
30 million cars, that's roughly 50 times the production capacity of South Africa's entire automotive industry. That means that Chinese manufacturers operate at a scale no country can match. Factories that produce vehicles at an extraordinary speed, supply chains designed for massive export volumes, and logistics networks built to move millions of cars all over the world. And increasingly, those cars are arriving here in South Africa.
Those vehicles have to find home. And that's why you find the influx of Chinese vehicles, because they've invested in manufacturing, and with the tariffs war around the world, they're fighting for a new home. And South Africa, we haven't created enough barriers for them not to come to South Africa. So I foresee the Chinese onslaught more into South Africa. But again, I think in a free market economy, we expect competition, so we cannot cry to government and say there's too much competition. The market forces will decide, the consumer will decide, but our role is to ensure that the playing fields are level.
In late 2025, Cars.co.za reported that Chinese automaker Chery was exploring something significant.
Yes, that is a thing that is going to be a very bigger focus for us now, is to drive the feasibility studies of local manufacturers here in South Africa. So it is in discussion with the government officials, and is also in discussion with NAMSAs and also the relevant stakeholders, including the several of the OEM, about the building the plant, about the can be taken over from the existing OEM we are busy working with. And also one of the key discussions is how actually going to save the jobs for South Africans. So as a Chery, there is a lot I think we can bring the values for South Africans automotive industry.
At the time, it sounded like long-term ambition. But within a few months, the story moved much faster than many expected. One of South Africa's most historic automotive factories is about to enter a new chapter, and with it, the role that Chinese manufacturers might play in the country's industrial future. But the real question facing the industry is much bigger than any single factory, or a new generation of Chinese manufacturers investing in local production. There's a much bigger question. Will the next generation of global brands see South Africa as a place to build vehicles, or simply as a place to sell them? Competing in the automotive industry isn't just about creating great cars at great prices. It's about moving them efficiently through the whole world. And that is where South Africa faces a challenge.
That's the one thing that customers don't realize is we're competing on a global scale. There is no local automotive brand. We just don't have it. All of the automotive brands are international brands in South Africa from different sources. So some are sourced from India, some are sourced from China, some are sourced from Europe. I think there's one American brand left in South Africa. This business model and the products that we sell and the nature of the beast, we're competing on a global scale. And South Africa and the stakeholders in South Africa, government stakeholders need to realize that we need to find a way between private, local government investment that we can compete on a global scale. We unfortunately have a disadvantage being at the tip of Africa. So our transport cost, getting components down, assembling vehicles and shipping them up to the northern export markets is a challenge. So we've got to find a way that we can compete with other manufacturing markets.
Geography places South Africa at the southern tip of the continent and the world. This creates both opportunities but also disadvantages. Think about transport costs, think about long export routes, our rail, our ports, and energy stability. This is where Transnet and Eskom become very much part of our automotive landscape. All of these factors influence where manufacturers decide to build vehicles, and South Africa's competition operate enormous manufacturing ecosystems.
The Volkswagen Kruger plant hit a record last year and built just over 167,000 Polos in 1 year, which is incredible. That's 457 cars a day, with a car rolling off the production line every 3 minutes. But consider this, in 2025, Maruti Suzuki, in one factory in India, built 2.25 million cars. That works out to 6,164 cars a day, or one car every 14 seconds. The figures are absolutely mind-blowing.
In a global industry measured in millions of vehicles, that scale and efficiency matters. Cars that move from factory to the river to a port anywhere in the world in a matter of days. But logistics is only part of the challenge. Technology is reshaping the automotive industry faster than ever before.
So the software in the vehicle is becoming a lot more part of the customer experience. And you can talk about connectivity, autonomous driving, safety mechanisms. But the whole value in the vehicle is moving away from steel to software, to put it bluntly. And so the risk for South Africa is that we continue to produce internal combustion engines with relatively conventional technology, and in 10 to 15 years' time, all we'll be able to supply is South Africa, because the rest of the world would have moved on.